What's going on YouTube? This is Destiny Heroic, and I'm here today to show you my Dimension Police Dimensional Robo deck profile, starring the Ultimate Dimension Robo Great Daikaiser. Okay, so first of all, this is I've played around with the ratios in this deck. Obviously, it being a deck based around the Daikaiser Break Ride, where you want to drive check grade 3s, I'm running some extra grade 3s. So I'm running 12 in this deck, which is not something you wouldn't expect in this kind of a deck. But let's get right into it. First of all, grade 3s. I'm running 4 Daikaiser, 3 Great Daikaiser, 2 Daiard, and 3 Shadow Kaiser. And the whole purpose of this set of grade 3s is to either make a good Vanguard or get the right Vanguard onto your Vanguard circle. So, for instance, if you have Daiard, Daiard's effect is as a limit break. You can put him into the. You can put a Dimension Robo into your soul and ride any Dimension Robo from your deck. So that's an easy way to get onto Kaiser if you haven't drawn into it. Or Great Daikaiser if you're not worried about the cross ride. Shadow Kaiser, like you did in the show, you counterblast 1 and put him in soul, and then if your Vanguard is Daikaiser, you ride Great Daikaiser. And then of course everyone knows about Daikaiser, counterblast 1 as a break ride, gain 10k in a crit, and the defense breaking skill. And then Great Daikaiser is counterblast 2 Dimension Robos and gain an additional drive check, so triple drive. So like I said, the whole reason for this grade 3 lineup is A, to run extra grade 3s, and B, to ensure that you get your Kaiser Great Daikaiser combo off as often as possible. If you don't ride Daikaiser, you can ride Daiard, and then at limit break go to Daikaiser and then play a Shadow Kaiser, or use Goyusha, which I'll get to in a minute, and ride the Great Daikaiser. So every game should result in you riding Great Daikaiser, assuming you get to grade 3. And that's another thing. Because I added additional grade 3s, I had to cut into the grade 1 and 2 lineup. I tried to keep it even, so I dropped 2 from each grade. My preferred ratio of my grade curve is to run 8 grade 3s, 11 grade 2s, 14 grade 1s, and then 17 grade 0s. So moving on, so my starter obviously is Dimension Robo Goyusha. Put 4 Dimension Robos into your soul and ride a grade 3 Dimension Robo from your deck, assuming your Vanguard is a grade 2. So really, this is a very expensive thing to do. It's really, you should really only use it if your grade stuck at 2, or if you need to get on the right Vanguard for grade 3 and you aren't at the moment. So that's really the only reason you would ever use that effect. But it's good to have it sit there, just to maintain the consistency of your deck. So for grade 1s, I'm using a 3 Daitigers and 3 Daibraves. Daitiger is obviously the 10k attacker for Dimension Robos. Daibrave is blast him from the soul, and your Vanguard gains a draw ability when he hits. That can be really useful because this deck does have a problem in keeping up defensive cards in the hand because there are so many extra grade 3s. I'm running 2 copies of Commander Laurel. This can be really devastating on the break ride turn if you manage to break a defense, because your Daikaiser will stand with his crit, and he'll be able to attack again. When he does attack again, he will lose the triple drive because that only lasts until the end of the attack. So you'd have to counterblast 2 again, and generally you won't do that because you do run out of counterblast pretty quick in this deck, and there's really no other way to unflip damage. For no guards, I'm using 4. I've only got the 1 die shield and 3 diamond ace. It doesn't matter really that it's obviously better if you use 4 die shield to keep the Dimension Robo numbers up. But that only really matters if you're going to be using Goyusha. Otherwise, as a defensive card, they're always in your hand, and it doesn't matter if they're on the field. So you can really, you can easily go with Diamond Ace over Dice Shield. Of course, if you're OCD, obviously you'd want to go with the Dice Shields. For grade 2s, very simple lineup. I'm using 3 Kaisards. Kaisard is useful because when you ride over it to grade 3, the grade 3 gains 5k for the turn. So that's an instant crit for Diard, even if you're not at limit break. And it can make the Daikaiser pretty hard to hit. Or sorry, pretty hard to block. I'm using 2 Die Dragons and 4 Die Fighters. Die Fighter at 4 because he's a decent, he's a really good grade 2 ride. But obviously, depending on your preferences, you can add dragons and subtract fighters or whatever. And for grade 0s, very simple 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. I'm using the non-dimension robo trigger here just because I wanted to run 8 criticals. Drive checking a grade 3 and a critical on a triple drive on the break ride turn can be pretty devastating to an opponent who hasn't guarded properly. So yeah, that's pretty much the deck. I played a game with this deck on my channel if you want to check it out. It's a very good deck. You will find that it really revolves around pulling off the break ride and then trying to grind them down afterwards. It doesn't really have much of a game outside of the break ride turn, in the sense of its deadliest turn is during the break ride. So after that, you'll basically be struggling to keep up defense and using the triple drive to regain cards in your hand. And Commander Laurel is especially useful in this deck because I mean, even outside of the break ride turn, your opponent is going to have to take a grade 3 hit at some point. So being able to stand and then twin drive again, you may not do as much damage, but you will certainly gain a lot of cards in your hand. And that's a big part of this deck, is keeping up the cards in your hand. So thanks for watching. I appreciate your watching my channel, and leave any comments below, any suggestions or any additions or subtractions you would make in your deck. Like, I know a lot of people don't even use Goyusha as the starter. They use a I think it's called Die Magnum, which is just put it in the soul and add 4k to a Vanguard. But like I said, getting onto the right Vanguard in any Dimension Police deck really is very important. So again, thanks for watching, and peace.